Talk financial advice too. Okay, wait, hold on.
Numbers quickly get very large when you start adding zeros.
I want to see this video that he promoted.
The problem is that our brains aren't naturally wired to comprehend that kind of scale. And at a certain point, they become these weird, intangible concepts rather than something you can actually count. Take, for instance, a billion. It's a very, very large number, but so is a million. I mean, they sound kind of similar, so don't they kind of feel similar? But imagine this. 1 million seconds adds up to about a week and a half. Now I want you to take a guess at how long a billion seconds might be.
How's it going, Ren?
How long is a billion seconds?
31.7 years.
6 months.
63 days.
You can't think about it.
5 years. 2 fortnights.
3 fortnights. 4 fortnights.
Yeah. 1 billion seconds is 31.7 years.
Poggers! I just read it in the comment section, or not read it in the comment section, in my
Which
chat.
does make sense when you think about it, because obviously a billion is 1,000 times larger than a million. So let's begin by talking about some money. Oh man, hey, look what I've got here. Have you ever seen $1 million in cash?
Not personally.
Oh, don't worry about that. How can you possibly fit so much money in a Hogwarts bag? This is $150,000.
I only got 140,000.
The reason why $1 million doesn't seem all that imposing is because you're only looking at 10,000 individual bills. So if this is $1 million in cash,
That's crazy how little $1 million is in $100 stacks. Like, I thought it would be more. Like, I thought it'd be bigger, right? Wouldn't you feel like it'd be bigger?
HasanAbi.
Your ridge is showing. Why is it that every time I say anything about money, everyone's always gonna be like, you're out of touch? No, like I actually thought that like $1 million would be larger. Like I thought it'd be like 3 times the size at least. You know what I mean? And I think it's because of monies. I think it's because of movies. Where in movies they make like $1 million seem like a lot larger. I would have thought that that's like 100K in a bag like that.
can you imagine what $1 billion in cash looks like? How big do you think that pot
If your rich was showing, you would think it's smaller. Yeah, don't worry about it. Chat loves saying that dumb shit.
would be?
That's a lot of money.
That would probably fill up this whole studio.
So you might be surprised to learn that $1 billion isn't gonna take up all that much space. Remember that show Breaking Bad?
You're goddamn right.
Well, they had like $80 million worth of cash hidden in a storage locker at one point during the show, and Bill Burr needed a nap.
We are here to do a job, not channel Scrooge McDuck.
But this is $80 million composed of mostly 20s and 50s. So for comparison, here's $100 million composed of just 100s. This 3-foot tall stack here could fund an entire Hollywood blockbuster. Although throw in a second one if you want to do marketing. So 10 of these would equal $1 billion. And I think most people will find it pretty easy to fit that cash somewhere. But that's only because these $100 bills have a very high density of value, and we have yet to see the true magnitude of the number 1 billion. Pretend with me for a moment and let's imagine that you were Bill Gates and you wanted to withdraw all of your net worth and put it in a giant stack of $100 bills in your backyard.
Bill
On your
Gates.
tennis court, for instance. Of course you have a tennis court in your backyard. You're Bill Gates. You probably have 30. Well, it would fill the entire inbound area of the court 19 feet high. This is $100 billion. Now, a single individual banknote weighs 1 gram, so 1 billion grams is how much this entire stack weighs. That is the weight of 170 fully grown African elephants or 10 blue whales. That seems like it can't possibly be true, but there it is. That's the math. I checked it like 8 times. So as it turns out, getting fake money like this in large quantities is a bit of a process. So huge thanks to propmoviemoney.com for making that process really easy. All right, now if we expand into outer space, we can actually start talking about distances in the billions of miles. But to put that into context, Saturn isn't even 1 billion miles away from us, and it takes us years to get that far away. But if we
Bro, that is fucking bananas when you think about it. Holy shit. It's like Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, they have like 100 of that.
If we had an Epstein drive, we could do that same trip in weeks. But unfortunately, the Epstein drive doesn't exist. But it does exist in this awesome series that I've been listening to on Audible called The Expanse.
Skipping the ad break, skipping the ad break.
First one's called Leviathan.
Skipping the ad break.
Back and talk about a billion. So how do you imagine 1 billion then? Well, take a look at this GoPro Hero session, and now imagine 10 of them side by side. Well, that's easy enough. Now expand that into a 10 by 10 square, and then stack it 10 deep. That right there is 1,000 GoPros. Now let's try that again, but this time using this entire group of GoPros. All right, now the stack is actually starting to get pretty big at 12.5 feet tall, but we still gotta do this one more time because we're only at 1 million. 1 billion GoPros stacked next to each other would form a massive cube 125 feet wide. This is mind-blowing to consider because last year GoPro announced that they had sold their 30 millionth GoPro ever, which is a far cry from the 1 billion you can see here on screen. So what's actually happening here is that we're simply increasing the scale by a factor of 1,000. So 1,000 times wider, longer, and taller. And thanks to the square cube law, this results in 1 billion times the volume, or 1 billion times the number of GoPros. A giant $20 bill would cover multiple football fields. However, it would only be 4.3 inches tall, because proportionally it'd be just as thin as a regular dollar bill. But I can represent 1 billion objects by simply scaling it up 1,000 times, which is great because my computer can't actually render 1 billion things. It would explode again. So instead, let's look at the representation of 1 billion. 1 billion Red Bulls would fill a can the size of a skyscraper 443 feet tall. A giant Red Bull can sitting in LA is like the most LA thing I've ever seen. 1 billion classic 12-inch pizzas, well, the diameter of that would be about the size of the Eiffel Tower. Bon appetit. There are about 1 billion passenger vehicles on the road today, and if you were to cram all of them together into one massive car, it would be almost 3 miles long. Just try considering how much metal there is in that car. Oh my.
Okay, I get it. 1 billion is big. All right, what is this?